The transfer deadline is over. The talks of fees, the talks of wages, the talks of money, that all goes away now as we transfer our attention back on to the pitch. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Yes, the transfer deadline may be over, but we're going to spend a little bit of time here wrapping up everything that went down on the final day of the transfer window, and then probably later on do a full breakdown of the all four leagues. Why not? Even though you can barely find out any signings that happened in League 2, who moved for a tenner and what not. But we'll look into that later on. First, we're going to spend today, though, talking about the final day of the transfer window, which was pretty quiet for most teams, to be honest, outside of the Old Firm. I actually had an early night last night. No point when you're a Hearts fan. There's just no point sitting up and waiting on something that's not going to come, okay? It's pointless. So yeah, I knew Hearts weren't going to make any signings last night. I thought, you know what, fuck it. Let's go to bed at 8 o'clock and wake up fresh for the weekend. You know, an important weekend where Hearts must absolutely win at Tynecastle. And some big games on. I think there's also a wee game happening in Glasgow this weekend, I think. So yeah, maybe two teams called Celtic and Rangers. Don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, heard there's a wee game going on in Glasgow. So massive weekend in Scottish football. But I mean, first, let's talk about Celtic then yesterday, because they did, I think they were the team that made the most signings. They were the team that spent the most money by far. No one can touch them in that department. But they did bring in Belgian wonder kid Arne Engels. Now, I mean, this deal's been pretty much finalised for the last, 48 hours, but obviously last night it got made official. It was completed. It does eclipse their previous biggest transfer fee, which they paid to sign Odsonne Edouard, and I think this is going to be, you know, a really good signing for Celtic. Now, I'll be honest, I've not seen the kid play. I mean, I do watch some Bundesliga highlights, but I've not really noticed him, so maybe I'll check something out, or maybe I'll just wait and see how he does in a Celtic shirt. But when you're paying this kind of money, you know, for a 20-year-old, somebody that plays in a top league that his club actually wanted to keep, this isn't a fringe player that was getting let go. This is somebody that Augsburg wanted to hold on to. I mean, he is hyped in the Belgian team as well. It's nice to see a Scottish club bringing in someone that's actually on the rise, and you know, he's already improving as a player. He's so young, and they're spending this amount of money on him. It's not often you see someone that fits the status of an Arne Engels that comes into Scottish football. Normally, when Scottish wonder kids in Scottish football, they kind of come in while they're under the radar. It's like when Celtic brought in Matt O'Reilly. Nobody really seen him as a wonder kid. He was just he's just an MK Dons player. He was just a £1.5 million player, and then he went on to show what he can do at Celtic. But with Arne Engels, I mean, people are actually already highly rating this guy. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on with the club. And is he going to be the next standout player? Probably. Is he going to be the next player that Celtic sell on for big money? Possibly. And the fact that Celtic have already spent a record transfer fee, you'd have to assume it's going to go both ways. If Arne Engels turns out to be the real deal, I would imagine within maybe 2 seasons, this guy will probably leave Celtic and become their highest, you know, transfer record fee ever received, and maybe he'll be the one to break the £30 million mark. But that's not where Celtic stopped. They also brought in American Austin Trusty from Sheffield United on a 5-year deal, £6 million. So I'm assuming he's going to come in and be Cameron Carter-Vickers' partner at centre-back. Obviously, Liam Scales has done a good job, and I think Liam Scales is still going to be third choice, and I think he's a decent third choice, but I just think Celtic did need a little bit of an upgrade there, especially being in European football. He's got more games this season as well, so I mean, even if Liam Scales was the number 2 next to Vickers, I still felt Celtic needed another pretty good centre-back to back him up, and I think that's what they've got here with Trusty. So yeah, it'll be good to see how him and Carter-Vickers get on, and it's probably going to be the best centre-back partnership we've seen in the league for at least a few years. That is providing that Austin Trusty doesn't turn out to be a dud like that Irish guy, forget his name, the guy that had a bomb scare, the guy that came from Brighton. I cannot believe I'm forgetting his name. The guy that was an absolute donut. But anyway, yeah, and then later on, Celtic decided to sign Dundee skipper Luke Mcgowan, who looked like he was destined to go to Hibs the entire window. Hibs put in bids were rejected. Hibs came back in with more bids. bids were rejected. Hibs put in a fourth bid last night, but it wasn't enough to secure the services of Mcgowan, and he decided to join Dundee. Now, I do believe that he is a lifelong Celtic fan, so that probably factored in his decision. But I think it's fair to say that Hibs have Hibsed it. Now, I haven't seen the official amount yet that Celtic have paid. I'm going to assume that it might have eclipsed 1 million. We know that Hibs had, 750 rejected, and then Hibs came in with a new and improved offer. So I'm going to assume that it's close to 1 million. If not 1 million, then you'd have to think at least like 900k or something like that. And yeah, Luke Mcgowan, another player that comes in, and he's probably going to get more game time than we thought, because Celtic did get rid of Awata as well yesterday. I believe he went to join, was it Birmingham City or Blackburn? It was some team in England. It doesn't really matter. He's left Celtic, and I wonder if that was a factor in Luke McCowan's decision, because he knew that Awata was already gone before he joined Celtic, and I just wonder if things like that, played in his mind, because he would have to be weighing it up, and he's probably going to think, right, well, obviously if I go to Hibernian, I've got more chance of playing. But then when he sees Awata leaves, automatically, if he does go to Celtic, that moves him up the pecking order. So something like that may have had an impact, a decision on his mind. So yeah, we'll see. But I think that's a good final day for Celtic, man. They brought in Engels, Trusty, and McCowan. That's good business. I mean, they were linked with Edouard as well. They never got Edouard. Are Celtic still a little bit light up front? I mean, they've got two real recognised strikers. I know Dyson Maeda can play through the middle, but I think Dyson Maeda is more effective on the left. I mean, we've seen the best of him at Celtic on the left, and it's maybe hard to compare because he doesn't really play through the middle for Celtic like he does for the Japan national team. But yeah, for me, if I was Celtic, would have liked another striker, maybe like a third choice striker, maybe someone just to replace O. Who knows? But then again, with only one up front, third choice striker, how often are they going to play? So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think Celtic had a pretty good day. Rangers, what did Rangers do? They managed to squeeze in Albanian midfielder Nadim Barami. So he looked actually good in the Euros. He looked really good. He's coming in from Sassuolo for, I believe, around £4 million. And they also signed Feyenoord youngster Nerasio Kasawori, who came in earlier on loan. So they did try and get Southampton winger Sam Edozie, but the bid failed or whatever, so it didn't happen. Overall, Rangers bringing in two players, transfer deadline day. It's more than I expected them to bring in, so I think that they've done all right, to be honest. We actually have some breaking news right now. There's a done deal. It's just came through at 9:04, and that is that Ayr United have signed Alfie Babbage. The striker has joined on a season-long loan from Aberdeen. Scott Brown has used his contracts at his old club to add extra firepower to his ranks. So, yeah, there you go. Scott Brown then bringing in an Aberdeen youngster on loan, and Ayr United strengthening their team. They're already a strong team. And speaking of Aberdeen yesterday, I believe Jimmy Phelan came out around 6 p.m. and said that there would be no signings. He obviously was happy with what he's done. I think Aberdeen's had an okay window, but honestly, when I factor in that they sold Bojan Miovski for that good amount of money, that's £7 million, I do think it's a little bit disappointing that Aberdeen didn't spend a couple million. I think even a couple more signings, not necessarily they don't have to spend millions, but even if they brought in two more players at 500k each, I just think that they should have done a little bit more, because they've had a really good start to the season. Why not try and build on this? It looks like I know it's early days, but it looks like Jimmy Phelan's actually a good manager. It looks like he's setting Aberdeen up for something good here. And they're unbeaten, they're second in the league. They've already got a decent gap over Hearts. Some people are touting them to potentially go and challenge Rangers for second. Why not try and strengthen the squad a little bit more? I would have liked to have seen them do it. I just think it was pretty negative that they didn't, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Todd Cantwell has left. He's obviously left Rangers to join Blackburn Rovers. It just didn't really work out for Todd. He said it was an honour, though, to play for the club. But, I mean, I also think he took a few digs at Rangers. So, I mean, it is what it is. He was a great player in his first 6 months. He just didn't really recapture that. I remember him and Raskin came in and they were playing some really good stuff. Beale got them playing, Beale, that Rangers team Beale had from the January window, man, they were really, really good. Also included a 3-0 win over Ange Postecoglou's Celtic, and Raskin and Cantwell for, that 5-month period were standout players. But I don't know where it went wrong in the next summer. Probably signing a bunch of duds certainly did not help. Speaking of duds, he was a bit of a dud last year at Kilmarnock, but he's back in Scottish football. The Buddies, St Mirren, have secured a deadline busting deal for Kevin Van Veen on loan. So the 33-year-old striker back in to Scotland, and it's just not really worked out for him since leaving Motherwell. Didn't really happen in Holland. He went to Kilmarnock last season. Didn't really factor that much, to be honest. Didn't make that much of an impact, and now he's decided that he's going to be playing for St Mirren. And I mean, if he can recapture his form, if he can score the goals he scored at Motherwell, this will definitely be a great signing for St Mirren, and it might actually help them get in our top 6 spot, because we know how good Van Veen can be. We know how clinical Van Veen can be, but whether he can recapture that, or was he just like a one-season wonder? Well, not a one-season wonder. I think he had 2 good seasons, didn't he, at Motherwell, I believe. I think he did. I can't remember. A long time ago, guys. Short-term memory loss right here. But Van Veen definitely knows where the back of the net is. Hibs have left it late, but they did pick up defender Jack Iredale on a 2-year deal from Bolton Wanderers. So Hibernian getting their man in late. They're not the man that they wanted. They wanted Luke Mcgowan, but obviously that wasn't to happen. So they didn't get him, and honestly, guys, I think that's it. I think that is all the big news from the transfer deadline day. I don't really see too much else happening there. So yeah, St Mirren get Van Veen was a pretty big signing. Rangers bringing a few players. Celtic obviously doing the most business, and that appears to be it. So yeah, we'll have a breakdown later on with all the signings that came in, all the signings that left. I mean, overall, it was an okay transfer window. Wasn't the greatest transfer window, but I think the majority of the clubs will be happy. Hearts did their business early. Aberdeen kind of did their business early. Rangers did a lot of business early, then done nothing practically until like the final day. And Celtic waited really until they started getting rid of a few players. They brought in Bernardo and Adair, but they were just players returning from a previous loan spell, so they didn't really feel like new signings, but I think they've ended the transfer pretty damn well with what they've done. So yeah, I think most fans will be reasonably happy here with what's happened. And now we go into the weekend and we see what all these new signings are capable of doing. Will many of them play? Probably not, but yeah, maybe we'll have to wait a week. Maybe we'll have to wait until the international break to really judge these guys. Anyway, that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Looking forward to the football over the weekend, and can't wait, guys, to talk about it. Catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.